Hello everyone, welcome to another Magnetic Magazine review. I'm Kane Michael, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Ableton Push 2. Ableton Push 2 is a controller built from the ground up by Ableton to control nearly every single aspect of live. It's an incredible controller that can do lots of things, and it's really fun to use. It's been out for a while, and there's plenty of reviews and demos and tutorials and stuff like that out there for you to watch. But I just want to touch on some of my favorite features and why I think this is a great piece of hardware that everybody that uses Ableton should use. So let's go ahead and take a look at the interface. As you can see, it's a pretty cool looking machine with lots of buttons and pads and knobs and stuff. Has a nice colored screen for you to see everything. It has 64 beat pads that can either launch clips, you can build sequences in sequencer mode, or you can play chords or notes, and you can do a lot of other things. You have a ribbon controller here. You have start and record. You have other buttons such as duplicate and quantize, which is cool because some people just pencil their MIDI notes in and just do it that way. Some people like to play and actually record their notes as they're playing, and obviously things may not be in time all the time. So instead of having to actually do the keyboard shortcut to quantize, you just press quantize and you're good to go. You have tempo here and you have swing here. You have various other controls that control all the aspects of all the Ableton built plugins, as well as various other aspects of other third-party plugins. You have your scene selector here, and you have your scene launcher here. You have your octave button here, and you have other buttons as well. So like I said, you can do lots of cool things, and since this was built by Ableton, it is in perfect synchronization. That's one thing I really like about this is, there's a lot of great third-party MIDI controllers out there, and they're a lot of fun to use, but because this was actually built by Ableton, they have a lot more access to the framework than other parties do, which allows this thing maximum control. There's a few things that it can't do that you do need a mouse for, but for the most part, this is almost a completely hands-on controller, which is awesome because it really adds an organic live feel to Ableton Live. So there's a lot of things that this can do, like I said, but some of my favorite things that we're going to touch on are just very simple things that make this piece of hardware really accessible, really easy to use, and really fun to use. Because in my opinion, there's a lot of controllers that while they're great and they can do cool things, they may look really cool, sometimes they're just a headache and you get them and then you end up not using them because they hinder your workflow. This is a different story. Since owning this, I have used it in every single track, doing things such as, like I said, writing melodies or recording automation or doing all kinds of other things. What I really like is that it's really easy to use, and you can use it as simply or as advanced as you'd like. So we're going to take a look now at three of my favorite features, and as I said, they're very simple things, but in my opinion, it's the simple things that really set these kinds of things apart from others. So now let's take a look at the browsing function, and from there we're going to add a simpler, and we're going to add some sounds and then play some clips and do a little bit of track building, nothing too serious. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to add a new track, which is this button right here. And from there, you can either select a MIDI track, an audio track, or a return track. We're going to select a MIDI track. So right here, we can select either audio, MIDI, or return. And from here, we are going to select an instrument. We're going to go here, select the simpler, go here, and then we're going to press load. So as you can see, that loaded the simpler here. And what we're going to do now is, you can see it says select browse to load a sample. Let's press browse and see what we got. So we're going to go back to our user files. We're going to go to samples, and let's go to techno. Let's do a little, let's see, go here. This is a good one. And drum loops. As you can see, it's providing us a little demo of what we've got going on. I like that one. So let's load that. All right, so now that we have that loaded, let's give it a go. What do you see here? Do you see these colors right here? These colors represent the root note of the scale, and because it is in a simpler or a sampler, you can play it like you would any other sound. So when you play it on the lower notes, it's going to play it at that lower octave. So now let's record. All right. Don't like that, actually. Let's beef that up a bit. So I already have a couple other loops here ready to go, and we are going to play those and see what happens. So now I'm going to launch the other clips that I already have set up, and to do that you press session, and that's going to load the layout that we have right here. Let's play this. Sounds pretty good. All right, that sounds pretty cool. Just real simple, nothing crazy. So now let's take a look at another function I really like, which is the scale mode. And on that, what it is when you have a VST loaded, something that makes sounds, like a serum or silent or whatever, you can obviously, play notes because this is a MIDI controller. But one really cool thing is you can change the pads so that you're only playing the notes in whatever scale it is that you want to be in, whether that be C minor, F sharp major, or whatever. So to do that, we're going to press scale. It's going to pull up this menu right here, and you have you can select the C, G, all your notes up here. And then using the knob, you can select whether you want to do major, minor, Dorian, melodic minor, whatever you want to do. I like the C minor, so we're good to go there. Go back here, and now, as you can see, it's only playing the notes in this C minor, which is really cool. Some people might say, oh, well, that's kind of cheating, but hey, you know what? Everybody has their own way of working, and if you just want to get there quick, simple, and not have to worry about playing notes out of key and going back and deleting them and stuff like that, it's a really cool function to do that with. So now what I want to do is I want to just kind of build a little track. I'm not going to do any more talking while I'm doing this. I just kind of show you how easy it is to use this to build tracks and use it in the workflow. So yeah, let's launch launch the scene. All right, and let's jam. So as you can see, I mean, that was a pretty weak demonstration right there, but you can see the point was to show that it's very simple to use, and it doesn't take rocket science to figure it out. It can be a little intimidating, I'm not going to lie, because there is a lot going on, and it is a powerful tool, but overall it is a really intuitive piece of hardware. If you're familiar with using Live, it's not going to be a learning curve. You know, I mean, it's going to take maybe a little bit to get used to not using your mouse and your keyboard, but because it is so well integrated with Live, it's basically Live in an external hardware controller. Really like that, as I've said over and over, that it is so hands-on, because electronic music has the ability to get really monotonous and really stale, I guess, in a sense that, you know, you're usually just using your mouse and keyboard and just penciling things in and drawing automation, stuff like that, as opposed to actually organically turning a knob or, you know, launching clips or playing things specifically. And that's what I really like about this, is it makes it so easy. And after using it for a while, it really just becomes second nature. I had an APC-40 and it's a great piece of hardware, but it's just, you know, something like that. You can do a lot with it, but it just kind of started sitting there and collecting dust, you know what I mean? Versus, as I said, I've used this in every single track since I've gotten it. I think that because it is so easy to use for those of you that really know how to use Ableton, it is a piece of hardware that I said that you're going to use often, if not every time, which in my opinion really is important because, as I said, you don't want to just buy something and have it sit there and collect dust. Now, obviously, I showed you a very simple way of using it, but you can get pretty crazy with this thing. Using the drum racks, which is what a lot of people do, instead of using individual clips like I was doing, you can build sequences like you would in a sequencer or external sequencer or anything, which is pretty cool. Personally, I like to use separate channels for my sounds because I like to control them as much as possible. But yeah, you can do a lot of stuff. So overall, I would say that the Push 2 is a piece of hardware that is definitely worth owning. It is a little pricey, I'm not going to lie, but it is worth it. You're going to use it every track. You're going to use it to draw automation, make more organic sounds, and just add a real human element to your productions, which is so important. So important. So once again, I'm Kane Michael. This is the Push 2. Thank you for watching, and for more info and more reviews, check out magneticmag.com.